Hello there, this is just a quick video to talk about the latest major leak to come out of Watchtower, a cache of sensitive documents related to circuit overseers that have been leaked out by a disaffected circuit overseer somewhere out there. The most significant document in this cache is the 130-page Circuit Overseer Guidelines document. We previously had this document in the Spanish language, but now we have it in the English language, making it easier for us to figure out what Watchtower expects of its circuit overseers. If you want a more thorough assessment of the Circuit Overseer Guidelines, please hop on over to jwsurvey.org, where I've done a more comprehensive list of some of the highlights of the document from my perspective. But for this video, I'll give you just a few teasers as to what you can expect to find. In Chapter 2, we find that circuit overseers are expected to quit by the age of 70, whereupon they take up positions as special pioneers. In Chapter 5, circuit overseers are told to only communicate matters related to child abuse to the branch via telephone. This makes it harder for them to leave any kind of paper trail in case it's ever investigated in the future. Chapter 5 also makes repeated reference to another document called the Personal Qualifications Report, or S326. Now, when I was reading this, I was intrigued to know what this form looked like, so I actually asked the contact for a copy of this form, which I actually got, and I've done another article on that form, which is horrendously Orwellian and invasive. It's essentially a snitching form that circuit overseers fill in to inform Watchtower about elders or special pioneers, to let them know if there's any problems that Watchtower should be aware of. Then, in Chapter 10, Tony Morris's fixation with tight pants makes an appearance in official Watchtower policy, and I will read to you from point 9 in Chapter 10. If the body of elders agrees that a brother or sister is blatantly and deliberately ignoring repeated counsel, and his or her dress and grooming is disturbing to the congregation, the elders may determine that the person no longer qualifies to share in the ministry. In such rare cases, no announcement should be made to the congregation. So if you wear tight pants and refuse to give up doing so despite repeated counsel, you'll be banned from going on the preaching work. Chapter 13 has instructions for circuit overseers dealing with child abuse matters that they should be informed first whenever there is an accusation of child abuse that needs to be investigated by elders. Again, this is a recent Watchtower document, and nowhere does it say that first and foremost the authorities should be informed if there are accusations of pedophilia. You would think that with the Royal Commission findings, with all the lawsuits, with the barrage of negative media, Watchtower would finally buckle and put something in its documents to say that the authorities should be notified as soon as these cases come to light. But in this recent document, they absolutely fail to do that. Chapter 13 has a bizarre paragraph about those who appeal about their disfellowshipping, and I'll read it to you. And bear in mind, this is people who have been disfellowshipped and want to appeal that decision, so the circuit overseer has to arrange for another committee to hear what their grievances are. And it says, before appointing an appeal committee, the circuit overseer should get the name of the accused, his race, the offences he is charged with, and some facts about the case. Now, I've thought about this long and hard, and I can't think of a single reason why it would be remotely relevant for a circuit overseer to write down what this person's race is. Chapters 21 and 23 are absolutely dripping with misogyny when it comes to describing the role of the circuit overseer's wife, and I'll just read to you a few quotes. Point 4 on Chapter 21 says, a married brother's wife should also be a pioneer. She should be exemplary in her conduct and in her dealings with others. She should be an effective preacher. She should understand her role, not speaking for her husband or dominating conversations, because we all know that that's what women tend to do. They tend to dominate conversations, bless them. And then in Chapter 23, point 2, it says, when wives of circuit overseers display a quiet and mild spirit, show warmth and love, exhibit a happy countenance, and have an uncomplaining spirit, They win the support and confidence of others. So that's what circuit overseers' wives should do. They should be quiet and be uncomplaining. And then in point 3, chapter 23, it says, it is preferred that the wife of a circuit overseer work in service with sisters and younger publishers. While it would not necessarily be improper for her to accompany a brother in the field service, this should seldom be necessary in view of the number of sisters available. It seems odd that circuit overseers' wives aren't even trusted to work with brothers and can only work with women in the preaching work. And then when we scroll down to point 6, it says, when the branch office directs that a video be shown to the congregation, the circuit overseer is responsible for the presentation. If he needs someone to assist him in setting up or running the equipment, he should select an alert, dependable brother. So, circuit overseers' wives, don't you dare go anywhere near the projection equipment if your husband needs to give a talk involving a video. And just to demonstrate how very controlling Watchtower is, not just in the lives of circuit overseers, but in the lives of ordinary individuals, I will read to you from Appendix H, point 2, which describes the attention that should be given to somebody who is a servant or elder who unilaterally breaks off an engagement. So people who decide they no longer want to go through with marrying somebody, and maybe their fiancé doesn't feel the same way, they want to go ahead with the marriage, you get the picture. And it says in point 2, Appendix H, in determining whether the individual is disqualified, the elders will need to use good judgment. Were there valid reasons for breaking the engagement, or does the person take the engagement agreement lightly? So if a ministerial servant or an elder breaks off their engagement, that becomes the business of not just the elders but the circuit overseer, and they will look into whether he is disqualified from privileges of service in the congregation, and they will involve themselves in this person's private relationship. I think it's safe to say that if you're a young ministerial servant or a young elder and you take a liking to an elder's daughter, you should probably give this that bit of extra thought. Those are just a few highlights from the document, but again, to read my more thorough analysis, please go on over to jwsurvey.org, where I have devoted a rather lengthy article to some of the juicier parts of the Circuit Overseer Guidelines. I'd like to take this opportunity to sincerely thank the brave individual who has leaked out this information so that those of us in the ex-Jehovah's Witness movement can help raise awareness of just how cult-like and controlling the Watchtower organisation is. If you want to read the document yourself, I'm trying very hard not to get in trouble with Watchtower's legal department by making links freely available, but suffice to say, it's not impossible to track down a PDF. As usual, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please subscribe for more, and thank you for watching.